Okay, welcome back to Honor Hero. And today, my lady was looking at a bunch of wedding stuff. They started off looking at some wedding dresses. Next thing you know, she's watching people fall out at weddings, and then she's looking up like vows and stuff. Well,
Oh wait, no. We got to that because we were talking about somebody's wedding that we know. Somebody got married, and you said they were upset that they got married, and then we started looking at their video of like their pre-wedding and stuff. So that's what kind of got me looking at that. Yeah.
And then she started looking up other stuff, and I was just around the house doing stuff. Then she wanted me to look at this dress. So, oh, does this dress look good? And all this other
Well,
stuff.
you said you liked the dresses that was on there. Because it was started out because I was looking at dress yesterday at that place.
It was some brand name, people that make a certain dress style, and I guess I liked it, and I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
she's like, well, what do you mean expect women to say, expect women to say in their vows?
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, because we were looking at someone in his family's video of their pre-wedding, which is something I've never heard of in my life. In my family, people just get married with a wedding, and I never heard of a pre-wedding thing.
I haven't either. It just
I never heard of that either. So
that particular day, but
yeah.
I was like, well, because if we was looking at videos of what women were saying,
yeah,
in their vows, and what men were saying in their vows.
And the first video we watched was the lady talking about how you write your vows and whether you have to decide the vows based off of what, like an officiant or what your
significant other.
Yeah, template or what your significant other, what kind of theme they want. Like, Anna mentioned a sappy wedding, which I never heard anybody use the word sappy.
So emotional stuff that will make you tear up, cry. So the stuff that's like, the stuff that's basically saying like, I love you, or we went through this, or you make me feel so good, you make me feel this way, that way, and that's the sappy stuff. And
I'm sorry, dear, this is the part of your hair that's sticking out. Like you pulled on it or something.
Well, I don't know what happened. Anyway, the part of the...
I'm just trying to help you.
Gosh. The part with the vows thing, okay?
I asked him.
She was asking me because...
Yeah, I asked him.
I was telling her, she was like, well, what's that? So we was going through what girls were saying and what guys were saying. I was like, okay, we found this 2 white couple.
And they were getting married. Yeah.
And this chick went with all this happy stuff first, and then she went with the vows. Okay. I vowed to do this for you, that for you, this for you, through the marriage. For as long as we're married, I vowed to do this and that. Okay. The guy, however, he went with some sappy stuff. He said, I promise and I vowed to do this for you. Went with more sappy stuff, and I promise to do this for you. Another vow. Then he more sappy stuff, and then he ended it with a vow, and then ended with sappy stuff after that. So that's kind of thing. A vow, what guys expect. So then we watched another one. This black dude was marrying this maybe Latino chick, Mexican chick, I don't know.
Yeah.
He said his vow, first he said a whole bunch, he did the same thing, whole bunch of sappy stuff, all what she made him a better person, all this and that, and then what he'll do for her. Then he said what he'll do for her, about 3 things. She said one thing, and Rochelle was like, why? I mean, Butterfly Spirit was like, why he look so upset?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, because she must have promised to do a whole bunch of stuff after they got married, and she didn't have that in her vows. And who knows how long or how many years that he's been thinking and setting up getting married and all this stuff, all this and that, because she said she was going to, who knows what it was. For guys, for what chicks usually say, for us, it usually has to do with more intimacy, wear lingerie, long hair, look pretty when we go out, try to be more experimental in the bedroom, stuff like that. Okay, so that's the usual stuff. And we're like, okay, sure, well, maybe that's the reason why she's not like that right now. And maybe, after marriage, she'll be like that. And the frequency of sexual intercourse and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So we would expect her to say the stuff that she can say in her vows, the stuff that she promised that she said that she would do after marriage, that's what we're expecting to hear. Okay? Because the stuff that you want us to do after marriage, or the stuff that we have to for ourselves, we're guys who are probably already giving you everything that we got anyway. Our vows are kind of hard. So the most that we can do is try to be more of a handyman, try to be more work on the yard, do more man stuff, because we kind of already give you everything because we kind of don't want to really be married. Marriage is really for you. So it's really for the chick. So we're kind of like, we already given you everything that we got. But the more that we could do is just try to try to get more money, advance in a career, do maybe a better career change or something like that. We can try to do to make more money, stuff like that. That's what we could do.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as our vows for you, it might be some most stuff keep you happy.
Yeah.
Do our best to treat it when you're sad. That's like stuff I would say. Like stuff I'd be saying, it's like take a workshop class on how to work on the house more. Take a maintenance class, work on how to work on, the plumbing system, stuff like that. Take a whatever workshop class on how to work on cars so I can have better stuff. Make sure I work out, look good. Make sure I look attractive. I'm going to try to do that. Make sure I don't look sloppy. Stay healthy. Make sure I cheer you up whenever you're sad. And I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm going to stay true. I make sure I give you first dibs on everything before I look at any advice anywhere else. All those type of stuff. As you can see, I don't got no piece of paper in front of me. Okay. Yeah. There's nothing here. It's coming from my heart. That's how I feel on the inside of my soul for real. Yeah. Okay. So it's easy for me to remember that because that's who I am as a person. That will be my vows. Okay. Okay. So, but I'm not holding that away from her, waiting for marriage. It's just that if I have an interest already in doing that anyway, if she asks for that now, I might, but I won't have nothing to give after marriage. So I got to hold something. Because I won't have anything else to give her.
So let me speak on the female part of the marriage stuff. So I think I've seen, one, maybe two, maybe a few. I think I said maybe three. It was three. Okay. So the reason I was asking him, what is it that guys expect girls to say is because a lot of times girls are not going to know what a guy is going to be wanting to hear because a lot of times girls are going to get advice from different people. If their mom is alive, because some girls out there don't have, their mom around or something like that. So a lot of times what happens is females that they value will be giving them advice on what they should be doing. So a lot of times women will say, oh, well, for your vows, sometimes they'll leave it up to a religious person. Usually they'll leave like a churchy, like pastor, preacher, whatever. Or sometimes females that are in a woman's life will say, hey, well, have you thought about your vows? What does you want to say? And stuff like that. And I say that because it happens, of course, in movies, it happens in real life and stuff. And a lot of times the bride has a lot of stuff coming at her when she tells people she's engaged. People are asking, when's the wedding, this and that, other. And it's not even enough time for a girl really to get into it, really, because there's a lot of people expecting this. Oh, who's going to cook? Where are you getting your dress from? How much you guys spend on the wedding? Where's it going to be? All this other kind of stuff. I think if a guy is expecting a woman to say something, vows, whatever, he's going to have to bring it to her and say, hey, I'm not going to say, it has to be a rushed conversation, but it needs to be something that she needs to know because everybody's always asking, okay, well, when's the wedding? The second they know a girl's engaged, when's the wedding? Where is it going to be? It's going to be in my church, is it in church you grew up in? What religion are you? What religion is he? People get all deep into stuff really early, just right after it happened. They don't even give you time. They just throw it out there to the bride. They just throw it there. And people are saying, oh, well, can I cook? Oh, well, can I do, the table, this table set up and everything? Oh, can I do the flowers? What kind of flowers are you going to have? What kind of jewelry are you going to wear? What kind of dress are you going to wear? Oh, you can't wear that kind of dress. Some people are religious. Oh, what kind of dress are you going to wear? Oh, you can't wear a dress where you're showing a bunch of skin. Oh, no, you can't do that. No, you got to be buttoned up, dressed, something like that. We covered up. With a wedding, there's a lot of people's perspectives that are coming out, and people think they have the ability to tell the bride what they feel like because they think that it matters that, oh, I'm his grandma, I'm his auntie, I'm his mama, so I can say this and that up. So they feel that way. And I'm just telling the guys out there how the brides get, all this commentary coming to them because people feel like the bride is kind of the one that's in charge of the wedding. They feel like the bride should have everything set up. And they should already know stuff. And if you imagine what it'd be like for a woman if she says, somebody comes up to her and says, auntie of the groom, and his auntie will say something like, oh, well, congratulations, baby. I'm glad you guys finally got married. They'll kind of throw that in there. Y'all finally got engaged and stuff. That's good. You really need to start thinking about, how you can accommodate our family because we have a large family and stuff. Y'all gonna be having kids because in our family people have kids. So y'all should be thinking about that before y'all get married. If y'all know y'all the right fit for each other. So y'all gonna have kids? Oh, you don't know? Oh, well, you should definitely have kids because in our family we have kids, and he expects you to have kids, so you're gonna have kids, right? They had these uncomfortable conversations with you before a bride can even think anything. People throwing a bunch of stuff at her. Oh, y'all gonna have kids? Y'all got a big family, right? Y'all don't have a small family.
If that happens to you, just go to my last video about how to answer hard questions about marriage and stuff.
Well, that's for. Oh, we were talking about Christmas. You were talking about pressure for that, and you can definitely go check that out too. I'm just saying, for guys, his family is not going to come to him about the wedding set. They don't come to guys about. They go to the bride and say that's to her. And and sometimes brides put on the spot about a lot of different stuff. So people who don't like her and your groom's family and shit, they'll come up to you and say all this shit. He's off, somewhere else and shit. And you over here like, do I really got to deal with this stuff? Yeah, And a lot of people deal with it. A lot of brides deal with it because they're Christian. So they think they got to go along with it and stuff because she's trying to be nice to his family. That's really what it's about. And she thinks, okay, if I just go through stuff now, after the wedding, they'll stop bothering us. Does that happen? I got a cousin who, she continued to be bothered even after she got married. The point about the vows is that women are not really going to know what to say because they're, bum rushed about a whole bunch of stuff that they're supposed to be able to answer, the food, the menu, this and that other. People are going to say, oh, I don't like that. You should have ribs. No, we can't do something vegan if y'all vegan. We can't do that. We should try to accommodate everybody else. We're coming all this way, So it's one of those things that I think if the groom wants the bride to know anything, he might be one of the first people, maybe after he proposes, say, hey, well, for the wedding, I just want to let you know before everybody kind of gets excited, throwing much stuff at you. For the wedding, I know it's soon, but for the vows, I would like you to, for the vows, just so that I'd like you to talk about, what you're going to do for me in marriage or whatever.
That's what vows
are. And that's what I think you should say early, because the bride, from what I understand, they're going to be. You can watch any TV show for real. You watch TV show, movies, or whatever. Look at what happens after the bride gets engaged. See all the movies, all them TV shows. You can definitely see it.
Now, let's see. For adult stuff, you may not want to say it in front of everybody. You can have a nicer way of saying keeping stuff, just say
adult
spicy
stuff.
And like adult stuff, like sex stuff. You don't have to say BJs and all that stuff in front of kids, in front of a bunch of people. That's something you can whisper. Come here, and whisper in his ear.
Why wouldn't you say the adult stuff?
You can say you do. Well, you will say it. You're going to either say it one into his ear, because you're trying to be respectful to people's family and their babies. There's some personal stuff you might not want to say that you said you'll do after you get married. Okay, so the spicy stuff in the bedroom, you can say that. Promise keep it spicy in the bedroom, whatever way women that will say it.
Okay, that might be better to say.
And so then, now when it comes to the adult time is when y'all able to have wine. The kids is off in the corner doing their thing, and there's only adults at the table, and you propose to. That's when you can either say, just whisper it in his ear. The important part of the thing is to whisper that in his ear, It don't have to be known to everybody, but you better mention something about keeping stuff spicy in the bedroom more often than what you're doing. If that was a
well,
promise.
you can say the part.
You know.
I feel like it's better to say that when you're doing the vows at the wedding kind of thing.
Yeah, it is better to say that. But then you can
Yeah.
tell them, you know, afterwards when you're taking that car ride.
Well, you're on the
that limo
honeymoon
ride,
when you're doing that.
you can tell them that stuff afterwards, because the important thing is that he's got to hear it. Okay, he's got to know that, hey, there's some vows. I got some hidden vows I couldn't say, you know, because it was rated R. But this also what I promised to do for you. That's what you say.
Okay. Well,
As long as it's said, it gets said, and he knows it got said.
Well,
that's it.
Well, and like we were watching the video, like you guys want to determine what kind of wedding you want to have, like, you know, like with the vows. Like you said, it's gonna be sappy. Is it gonna be humor where maybe one of you guys likes to tell jokes, you know, and like you're let's just say one of you guys are comedian, you know, and maybe the other person may not be or something, so maybe you can get some jokes for them to say. Maybe I mean, I think different people have different definition of vows. I think that I would say for vows, maybe this isn't something that maybe girls hear very often or something like that, because I don't think they really hear much about vows or anything. Because usually, like when I was a kid, you know somebody got married, but you know, from the dress and the groom being dressed up, but you don't really know that there's vows or anything like that, you know. I think a lot of times I've seen sometimes where people don't really have vows. They usually just say like religious stuff, or they do like, you know, the officiant or the pastor does religious prayer, and they don't get a chance to say anything.
If that happens, that tells you who wanted who to get married, and that tells you who was ready and who wasn't ready. That's a sign that they both was not ready. They both was pressure.
Yeah, and you know,
a vow was something that you promised to do for marriage. That means you was planning on it. If you're not planning on it and it just kind of happens, or it's get married because this person got pregnant type thing, that is religious and stuff like that, you're not gonna have vows because y'all don't like each other like that. There's nothing. Y'all never promised each other anything. It's just something that's happening to you because all this pressure from this religious stuff is happening.
You know, I can see how some people may want to say vows, but because of whatever religion they're from, like the Christian parts, then they may feel like you may feel like you can't say anything because you're not trying to offend the elders and everything, your family and the preacher and all that stuff. Some people are really scared to say something because you got some people who plan the wedding for you. You know, you only get a chance to decide anything. Some girls will tell, okay, you're gonna wear this dress. Gonna wear the same dress your mom wore, grandma wore, or something like that.
And that's fine. Yeah. After everybody's gone, you need to say your vows to each other. That's what you need to do. Whether it's at the honeymoon or after the marriage when nobody's looking, you know, y'all need to do that.
Maybe something people can do is maybe you can do a ceremony yourself, just kind of like the two of you guys before you get married or something. And then the next day you can.
That's true. You
can kind of rehearse or something. I mean, you don't have to say exact vows, but you know, you have to realize too that you're going to be in front of a whole bunch of people, and everybody's going to be listening intently into what you're saying and looking at you. And for a lot of people, you know, it's scary.
That's fine. Just to keep it simple, just say the stuff that you said that you would do after you got married.
Yeah.
Just write all that stuff down. All that stuff that you said, I'll do it after I get married. After I get married. That's your vows. Do not think that's not it, because that's what you're saying. So that's the stuff you have to prepare to do. Now remember, you're talking about marriage here.
Mm-hmm.
You're not talking about do it for a couple of years and then break up and then you both go your separate ways without any law or consequences. This is a marriage we're talking about.
Okay, so what do you suggest people do?
You're saying this is stuff that you can be able to do and keep up with for the rest of your life. As long as you don't get sick and ill or hurt or all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what you're saying. It's for the rest of your relationship, 50 years down the road. You're able to keep this up. This is something you're able to do. So so I'm just letting you know that. That's
important that you said that, because it's very important that people think about what he's saying, because you have to think about, you know, you have to be honest with each other about who you are. There are some people who, you know, you may have a bride and she's getting married to a guy because she thinks that he's honest and everything. And then she finds out at the wedding this dude's cheated with, you know, cheated with maybe 20 chicks that's in the, you know, in the audience, you know, and then those weddings, you know, they go, the girl passes out and everything, or whatever. She gets mad and hits him with a bouquet. You know, you got to think about the honesty in your relationship too. If somebody's a cheater, don't get married to them. You know, and it is a good reason to get a divorce if you find out somebody cheated with somebody. You divorce at that point because you know that you can't really trust what they're saying.
Or drugs too.
Yeah, if they're on drugs, you know, and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get clean. If we get married, I'm gonna be clean for the rest of the relationship."
For real.
Yeah, if they say that, or maybe they're drunk. You know, maybe this person drinks, and you know they say, "Oh, well, when we get married, I'm not gonna drink anymore. I'm gonna be clean and stuff like that. We're gonna have family, whatever." And of course, they relapse and they drink and stuff. And I would say, don't marry an addict. If you know they're addicted to something, don't get married to people. They're an addict. You know. What else would
And don't be getting married because a person, don't be having a baby and get married because a person wants a kid either, and they're not ready for that, and you know they're not, and you know you're not. So and if you end up pregnant, the first thing you need to say is, okay, well, you want to get married, you want to have a kid, but we're not married right now, and I want to be married first before I have my kid. So right now I'm having an abortion until we get married. That will straighten him up, especially if he wants kids or a big family, whatever.
What
and
about,
he wants you to be the one to pop them babies out?
Well, what about the people who don't believe in abortion? What about those girls who said they don't believe in abortion and they think that, you know?
Then you can tell them, hey, well, we're not going to be keeping this baby. This baby's going to go up for adoption.
Yeah, that's it.
You're not going to get this baby unless I'm married.
Yeah, and that's good too.
And you can say, I'm going to get on the most hardcore birth control there is. Next one on 0.05% rate pregnancy.
Yeah.
And until I get on that and I wait the amount of weeks for it to be in full effect, you're going to be using the condom from now on. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't have sex. I'm saying that you're going to be using the condom.
And I think it's good to consider who you're with and stuff like that, and be honest about, you know, what you want the future to be like. I think that's important, because if there's a reason why either of you think you shouldn't get married, although people may say, you know, oh, you should just go through with it. Don't just go through with it if you feel like in the pit of your stomach, you feel like something's not right or something. Don't go through with it. You can, you know, you can set the weddings off. You can do that. Even if you're standing up there and everything, you can do that. You know, it's better to do that than to feel like, oh man, I made the biggest mistake of my life, and now I'm just lying to everybody because I didn't say anything at the time. I think that's something that scares people.
Now I'm going to tell you what guys feel if you don't do this. What a guy will feel if you don't do this. Let's say that marriage took 3 years to set up, and she told you that I'm going to do this, that, this other thing, this other thing, and this other thing after we get married. Then you get 3 years down the road, and you actually up there. Now here comes the time for kissing the bride on the wedding day, and you're up there.
Yeah.
And here comes the vows, and you're listening for this, that, the other thing she said, one more thing, that last thing she said, that she promised her, she vowed to do for you after marriage. And you don't hear any of them. She doesn't say any of them, and you're still listening. And then she folds a piece of paper, and she's done. And the only thing she promised you was, I promise to be faithful and not cheat. What about all the other stuff that's going to, what? 3 years, all that money, and you need, what about other stuff? Well, so the guy's going to flip out, and he's going to think, well,
here's the thing.
She don't feel guilty. If she went 3 years, 1 second, okay?
Go ahead.
He's going to think, damn, look, I went 3 years. And if she didn't feel guilty at all, she didn't have any guilt but to tell me the truth, that she really didn't feel like doing this stuff for me after marriage, like, I would have never married her if that was the case. Like, she should have told me so I could have the choice to marry her or not, so that she could find the right person for her if I was the wrong person. Like, that's what a guy's going to be thinking, because then he's going to have trust issues. And this is where the chicks say he changed. Because after that, he will change. Because to him, you lied for 3 years. And then you continued it. It's not in your vows to say what you're going to do after marriage, like you've been saying, those 3 years. And you kept it like going for that long. Now he don't know about other stuff. Now he's thinking about other stuff you could possibly be lying about. That's where trust issues come in. that's where he's going to change, and because he's not going to do his side of the stuff because you didn't vow to do your side of the stuff. Now you got broken vows and all this other stuff is going. That's where will he change. That's where he will change if you don't say them vows properly, whether it's right there or afterwards. It better be something to do with the wedding day or honeymoon. It better be something to do with about that wedding.
I think it makes sense what you're saying because I can see how, I can see how it can be something that somebody isn't saying or whatever. I can see how that can be the case. I think that as long as the guy makes it a point, hey, vows, I'm expecting to hear you say this, and this. At least you would have said something, Because if a guy's expecting, he doesn't tell the chick, she may not know because, let's say, for example, and I think vows are worked on separately. I think most of the time they're separately done. So the girl and the guy don't do them together. The girl does them herself. The guy does it herself. So I think something to think about would be, I think a guy can say, hey, I'm expecting to say, the things you said that, you're going to do before we got to this point, you vowed you're going to do, I'm expecting to hear that. If I don't hear that, the wedding's off. I'm going to walk off the stage. Something, because at least then she'll know, okay, well, that, because if she's doing research on vows, it may not necessarily say, okay, well, you're going to say what the guy wanted you to say, you vowed to do this. It's not going to say that. This is going to be a template.
But the thing is, I don't want you guys to, that's part of controlling somebody. You don't want to do that. Okay, that's kind of like, that's mean. It's not something you should do.
Well, I'm saying, I'm not saying
what
control.
Just let them know, hey, what your vows are the stuff you promised.
Well, what I'm just saying is, I'm saying that if a guy is telling the girl the vows, it's not controlling. It's just you're letting her know it's going to happen, so she can decide whether she wants to go through with it or not. So at least if you say, hey, well, at least if you say, this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting you to say some things you vowed to do. At least if you said it, you ain't got to say it in a mean way. You can just say, well, this is what I'm kind of expecting to hear. If I don't hear those things, I mean, do let the person know what you're going to do, because your family's going to be there, their family's going to be there, and it's one of those things you'd at least want to tell them, because you have to decide at some point. Hey,
but for a lot of guys, they're wanting to see if you're telling the truth. That's what they want to see, if you're just telling the truth. If that's really what you said, then that's something you vow to do.
Yeah. Well, I think that some girls may think of it, and I'm not saying all, because there's girls who fit this example. I think it's a good idea to say that after you guys get engaged, I don't see anything wrong with saying, because you're going to be working on the vows anyway, to kind of bring it up and say, hey, well, you don't have to say what your vows are going to be right now, but at least let the girl know, hey, this is what can happen, so that at least she can decide, okay, well, I don't want to go through with this. I don't want to say this in front of people. You can stop, you can cut it off right there. Now, with vows, sometimes religion has a part in it where people at their church, I know because I used to attend a Catholic church. So sometimes you have certain things that you have to say as a part of the ceremony, depending on what kind of Christian you are or something. So they may expect you to say something, and maybe you don't get a chance to say anything. Maybe it's just about the religious ceremony. To them, maybe that's what it is. We've seen kind of proof of that when we're looking at the black guy and the Mexican or Latino chick's wedding, where they were doing a lot of prayer and this and that other and stuff. And, you never know. If you're a Christian, you may have to say this or that. You may not get a chance to say that because they may say, oh, we're not married yet, so you can't say this. I mean, I would say a lot of people have hands in it, like in your wedding. Sometimes people don't even let you just say anything. Sometimes they want to plan a church service around your wedding. So, they're going to decide this, and this. Hell, even at funerals, people do the same thing. They have a church service going on and stuff like that. I think for the bride and groom, I really would say the fact that decide what the kind of structure you guys want, because if you don't, somebody's going to decide for you. It can be your grandparents, your parents, your aunt, uncle, whatever. They may decide it. And a lot of times, I've heard this when I was a kid. I heard people say, they'll say, like, if they're going to pay for your wedding, they'll say, oh, well, we're paying for it, so we can decide what's going to happen, this and the other, because we're paying for it. So it's going to go how we want it to be, how we want it to go. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you want to save up your own money for your wedding, because people will try to control in what you do, you know, what you wear, what kind of food you have, all this stuff, because they're paying for it. So they feel like they can do what they want because they're paying for it for you, and therefore you can't say anything. That's why you should save your money to have your own type of wedding, because you want to be able to have it go the way you want it to go. Do you want to get married in a park? You know, do you want to get married at a hall? You don't have to get married in a church. A lot of people don't know that, but you can go to a hall. You know, that's what I got a cousin. He got married at a hall. You know, and they had no, he got married in church, but yeah, you can have it in a hall. A hall is going to be like a open space or whatever where you can decorate and have tables and stuff like that or whatever. But you don't have to be pressured to have a wedding in a church. You don't have to do it. You can get married at a park. Where's a nice park around you or something? Maybe you guys met there. You know, maybe you want to get married at your college. They might have some nice places. Bowling alley, whatever. But I would say you want to have control over where your wedding is, because people will say that. I've heard it said many times when I was a kid, oh, well, I'm paying for it so I can decide what happens, this and other. And you don't want that. You know, we have a book. I bought a book about, I don't know what the title is, but it's a book about how you can have weddings for $10,000 and under or whatever. So if you guys are interested in that, you can take a look into that, because you don't have to spend 30, 40, 50,000 on a wedding. You ain't got to have a celebrity wedding. You can have something small, nice, and everything like that. And it can be fine. You know, I would say for vows, I think you guys can get together.
Weddings on a budget?
Maybe. It's a purple book. I don't remember what it is. But yeah, you can have, you know, Google, I think it's like a purple book, but you can Google it, and, you know, you can have something small. You ain't got to spend a whole bunch of money, you know, on a wedding. A lot of people feel like they have to. Oh, like girls are like, oh, I gotta spend so much on a wedding because you know, my friend had this kind of wedding, so I want to have that kind of wedding and stuff like that. What do you think about that? About spending a lot of money on a wedding because somebody else did?
Sounds to me like getting married for the wrong reason. Sounds like you're just copying somebody.
I can see that. I think a lot of people do that. I think you can have a nice ceremony without having to break the bank.
I got a but now.
But what?
But if you feel that you need to have that same thing to in order to feel different, do it. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse for a freaking guy to go through all that headache, all that marriage pressure, for you to freaking tell him after it's over that you don't feel any different.
Well, let's talk about feeling different, because for some people that's a thing. So Ewan shared with me that somebody he worked with, they had a wedding. What did she have a wedding in the backyard?
Her dad's backyard.
Her dad's backyard. And she got married to the guy. And after that,
the next day,
she said she didn't feel any
different. That's bad. Now infidelity is about to come in. Now all this other stuff about to happen because she didn't get that. Whatever was in her head, it didn't come to fruition. That's disappointing because now she's got to try again with the next guy.
And let's talk about that. So that's an important thing to talk about when you guys are talking about your wedding. I think the bride and groom should kind of sit down, you know, talk about y'all can talk about over dinner or whatever, take notes. But, you know, feeling different is something that can be big for brides. A lot of times I think it can be because, what do you say, brides like to get attention? I think isn't that what she said?
That's what it's about. It's about them getting that attention. So best thing I can say is whatever movie scene she got in her head, please find it, pull it up, and try to copy at least 3 things from it. Please do it because she's not going to feel different if you don't.
And you know what? Something that may be a good thing to do is I would recommend don't get married in the backyard of anybody's house. You don't sit down in movies. You don't sit on TV. Maybe that's not the best thing. I would say, if anything, you know, talk about that, you know, guy, if you're a groom. Maybe for a guy, that may be something important. I don't know. Maybe some guys out there feel that way. But I would suggest don't do it in the backyard because that seems kind of like a shotgun wedding to me, kind of old-fashioned.
I mean,
That's what I feel.
you hear the word old fashioned?
Yeah, that sounds old fashioned.
That means,
like a shotgun wedding.
That means that it might be a tradition too. And if it is a tradition, it's okay to do it. It's a tradition. It's just.
I would say this: in order for a guy to kind of avoid a guy and a girl avoiding a wedding, they may not want to have it in the backyard. Maybe they want to have it. Maybe go out of town somewhere. You know, go get married on a beach somewhere, Cancun or what's that, St. Lucia or Hawaii or something like that. You know, you can't replicate that. You know, you may not be able to do that. You know, maybe someplace in a movie where somebody got married in a movie.
And
you know, maybe that might be kind
of. You
guys
are going to want your prenups though.
Yeah, and let's talk about that.
Even if you guys, because the reason you want a prenup is if she develops a business or you develop a business, if one of you becomes depressed to the point you get on drugs or something bad happens, or you start cutting yourself, or you become this person that they never wanted to marry, and therefore you get a divorce, you don't want that other person to be your business partner forever. You don't want, because the thing is that you're not going to be this so-called, low income person forever. If you play the lottery, you might out of nowhere hit that gold ticket and get that 300 million out of nowhere. Okay, who knows what you might get? You might get left an inheritance. You do not want that other person getting that. You're not going to stay this low income person forever, especially if you have gold.
Well, let's talk about the low income part, because a lot of times when people mention low income, they're Black. So a lot of Black people can be low income for a long period of time. I think maybe that applies for white people or Asian people, but I'm not sure about Black people. Because a Black person has to get really lucky. Because remember, we tried doing a lottery and it didn't turn out.
But what I was saying is that you do not know what the future holds for you. You don't. If you got ambitions, and if you have, you don't know what's going to trigger you to get more money. You don't know what promotion is going to come to you. You don't know who's going to invite you in their business, in their family. You really just don't know. Okay, so it's the best thing you can do, especially for Black, is protect yourself from the judges making the decision for your relationship. If you have prenups, it's already in black and white. It protects you. It protects her. Just like car insurance. You're not going into it expecting to get a doggone wreck, but dang it, if it freaking happens, you got insurance. Same thing. That freaking prenup is going to go in a safe deposit box. You hope to never see that crap again, but in case anything happens, in case somebody gets too depressed, man, you are going to be happy you have that, because if you're married over 10 years and you won't have a prenup, whoever makes the most money, okay, or had the most money, is going to have to pay that other person for the rest of their life. Even if they move in with another person and not get married anymore, you know what you're paying for with that alimony payments? You're paying for the next person to have an easier life than what you had with that person. Because now your money is going to the rent and it's going to the bills for that person who you was married to, your ex-wife or ex-husband, to have a better life than what you guys had and a more financially stable life than what y'all had with the ex-wife or with the ex-husband, which is unfair to you.
I think for the prenup, I think it's a good idea to get a prenup. I think that it's kind of that just in case kind of thing. At least you have that thing that's there, and you guys can focus on getting married, and you can focus on having a life together. There's nothing wrong with a backup kind of thing, because you don't know legal stuff. Like we don't, everyday people don't know.
I'll tell you what happened to a guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, a guy to somebody that I don't know, but one of my coworkers knows. Okay. It happened to them and their family. This guy had a house paid off. It was with his wife. Well, the wife decided, I'm going to use the feminism thing and the alimony thing and the taking stuff from taking house. I'm going to decide to just marry this other guy. No, she didn't say marry. So I'm going to decide to be with this other guy, to cheat with the other guy. Guy found out. Caught her. Said, hey, what the heck? What you doing sleeping with another guy? She's like, well, get out. And I'm going to take you for everything you got. She took his house, car, took possession of that, and got her for alimony. But he wasn't with her for 10 years. He was only with her for 8 years, which means he had to pay 4 years. So every 2 days you're with that person, you got to pay that 1 day alimony. So
Mhm.
basically, if you're with somebody for 10 years, you got to pay. No, I'm sorry. If you're with somebody for 8 years, you got to pay 4. You're with somebody for 2 years, you got to pay 1 year. You know, it's half. It's half of whatever years you was with them. And that's what happened. That's what happened. Car paid off, house paid off, all taken.
Okay.
And then he had to pay for that guy that he caught her with. Now she's in his house. He's paying the rent still and the bill still in that house because he has to pay her alimony. And who is she with? Not with the person paying the bills. She's with the other guy,
So
having an easier life.
did they say anything happened after 4 years? Because when he'd be done he'd be done in 4 years.
He's done in 4 years. Then she's just going to have to, then either he's going to be the next victim or
the next guy's, when you say victim, what do you mean? She's gonna get married to him? Or?
Yeah, get married to him and do the same thing to him. He'll be the next victim to what she just did to her ex-husband, or he'll get out in time before, or when she starts coming to him with the marriage pressure, it's just going to be time to go. And he's like, oh, hell no, I'm leaving. I see what you did to the other guy. You know?
Yeah, I think that
that's what can happen.
I think a prenup is something, like, I think the first time I heard about, I didn't think I heard about a prenup. I think the first time I ever heard about alimony, I was watching 2.5 Men. Maybe a lot of you guys know that show. But that's when I heard about alimony because the guy on the show, Alan, he had to pay his ex-wife, Judith, alimony. And I wasn't sure what that was. You know, I'm just watching the show, not really knowing what it is. And I think if you're Black or you're somebody that doesn't know what that is, because I saw the fact that they were white. So I was like, oh, is this a white person thing? You know, maybe it's not something I have to worry about. And I think it's kind of hard for anybody to think of that if you've never heard that before. Like when you're growing up, you never heard that. You see it on TV and you think, oh, it's not a big thing. Oh, this is for white people. Because I'm seeing these, you know, white guy, white woman, well, she could have been another race or something because she looked a little different. Well, I think she's not white, but you know, you may think it's not for you, you know, and you think, oh, okay, these other group of people, maybe it's not apply to me. And I think I heard that, but I never heard about a prenup because growing up, I never heard that either. And I think it's something you have to research if you don't know what it is.
For real.
You have to research and find out information because when you're growing up and you're a kid and you're growing your teens and adult, you don't know. Like a lot of times you build your experience off of what you see people in your family do. So you may think, oh, well,
that's true.
You may think, oh, well, I have to get married because my parents got married, my grandparents got married, their parents got married going way back and stuff. And, you know, there's a lot of traditions and things that you think you have to follow through with. You know, I know guys think that they have to do things. And there's also, you know, generational curses where people are doing the same stuff. You know, in my family, that's something that I was talking to you about, so I realized it. And I think that learning about things can be helpful. I know there's going to be so many girls that say, oh, I don't want a prenup or whatever. They don't want that. But I think it can be helpful. I don't see anything wrong with, if you're married, I don't see anything wrong with helping the other person with something. I mean, provided they're honest, you know, because some people coming into it and they're not honest. You know, they're sketchy, you know.
If you're a guy right now and you're thinking, well, what if she says no prenup? Then that's when you say no marriage. That's when. Okay.
I think you guys can come to some. I think the thing is that I don't think a prenup is too bad. I mean, because think about this. I'm not a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. You know, you may not be a lawyer either, but you may be saying, well, what's something that'll work good for me? You know, what if it doesn't work out? You know, and there's a chance that can be the case. You know, what do you do?
Somebody like this is life. We're talking about depression.
Yeah.
People dying. Like,
and that's,
you don't know the turn, man, that people can take in this life.
That's very true. I mean, you don't know if the person you're getting married to right now, they can have a car accident, you know, a week from now and stuff. And there's people who have that. Like I was watching YouTube and there was this guy, he got engaged to this girl that he knew, and it happened where she got I think she was in a car accident and stuff, and she died. And here he was having to deal with the loss of, you know, they were engaged, she died. Here he is trying to, you know, before they got married, he's trying to get the money back from the places. And one place was being rude, mean to them and stuff like that, not letting them get a refund and saying, oh, well, you're not even going to get a refund from the grave. You're not going to get that. And they're being really ridiculous to them. Luckily, the name of those people got out so that nobody knows mess with them. But, life is unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen, And I think that it's important to learn about stuff, because you don't know. Being Black, there's a lot of things that we don't know, we don't see. And so we're thinking, oh, maybe that doesn't apply. Like I was thinking, oh, well, it's for white people. Oh, okay, well, maybe it doesn't matter to me. Maybe it's not a thing, that it happens. But I think it's important to learn. And I'd say it's important not to rush into something. Don't have family pressure you into stuff, especially if they're Christian. You don't want to do that. It only end up being worse, and it's going to be just worse if you go at it that way. It's better that you guys get a chance to know each other, and hopefully that person's being honest. If you find out the person cheating on you, just don't continue it. Leave it alone. Don't believe, oh, God's changed me. I prayed, and don't believe that stuff because they'll come to you with a whole lot of other stuff. And without an addiction. Addiction. Sorry.
Two final things I'm gonna say is one, if y'all arguing that year, like let's say that's the year that y'all had an argument where high emotional stuff happened, where like somebody would kill himself, or you could say, or if like somebody was like y'all breaking up type of arguments, like get the fuck out, leave, get the hell out of my life. That is not the year to get married. You got to calm that crap down. Well, that's not don't get married in that same year. Go to a couples counselor, please. Well,
you'd have to go into counseling to kind of find out, because one of you guys may have gone through abuse or something, and there's a chance that you may say something, and this thing you said, you may have heard other people say it, and you say it, and you may not know that that's something that affected that person. And a lot of times you're not going to know, which is why, it may seem difficult. And a lot of people are scared to go to counseling. A lot of Black people are scared to go because they think, oh, if I go to a counselor, maybe I'm sick or whatever. Then that's not the case. I think it's important to go and talk to a counselor, or maybe you guys can each have your own counselor, and then you work on things, and then you learn to build and have understanding, because that's going to help you in the long run with a lot of things, because life is challenging in itself. A lot of people don't get that. For Black people, it's hard life. You can't get jobs as readily as you'd like to. You like to stay in a job to get a promotion, but you can't because they kick you out and put a white person in the job. You're told, oh, if I have a college degree, I'm gonna have all these, jobs and stuff. And turns out that's not the case. And there's a lot of things that Black people really don't know. I mean, they can educate themselves to know and learn, but you have to know somebody who knows that. And not even know it, but you have to be exposed to the information so that and it's maybe not just Black people, but it can be other people too. And if you're just going along with your family's doing, and you say, oh, well, my family did this, so I gotta do this. You don't have to do that, but it's important to fix things also for yourself, because you can have traumas later in your life. It can come up and bother you and stuff like that, and you have to think about that stuff, and you have to talk to people with that, because you can go through stuff like traumas and you don't even know it's a trauma. You just think, oh, I just went through this, so I just gotten used to it. So I guess that's how it is.
That sucks when you get older. You don't even like. I was in a certain specific counseling for sexual stuff, and I found I had PTSD. I didn't even know that's what it was. I didn't even know that's what I was feeling. I didn't know I had that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what he was even called. So like, if you're wondering what that's called, that is called baggage.
Yeah.
So you got to determine, is that baggage you're willing to deal with? Do you want them to fix that first? Do you want to take time off from the relationship first, have them fix it so you don't got to deal with the emotional pressure of it all? What do you want to do? Because that is baggage.
Yeah, and I think not just one person can have baggage. Both people can have baggage. It can be something where maybe just one day, you go back to your hometown or something, and then you go to a certain place, you go to a certain park, and all of a sudden, string springs up, and you remember, oh yeah, this happened to me, and then you just start going through episodes and stuff like that. And I want to say, it's not just one person who has baggage, because it can be both people. It really can be both of you guys who have baggage. And that's why I think counseling is really important, because you may think, oh, sitting down and talking to somebody is not going to help, but it does help. It helps you to figure stuff out and stuff, especially with traumas, because a lot of people have traumas that they have and they don't really realize it. And I think that that's something that you can work through, and as long as you're working through it, that helps you, because I think that's what puts people in addictions, because they don't work through stuff, and they don't realize this stuff triggers them to do stuff, and they don't realize that. And I think that that's something that people need to do, is go into counseling. I mean, if you feel a certain way, you feel this emotional way, you don't understand it, and sometimes it's because people around you, they don't know how you feel, and you feel a certain way, and nobody knows, and everybody else is going along with their lives and stuff, and you just think, maybe you don't realize it at first, but you feel bad. And that's where people need to kind of go. If you feel bad, go into counseling. That's important to do.
I don't know what's bringing me to say this, but I feel like I'm getting something from the spirits to say this, so I'm gonna say it. If you have a parent that's sick and they can't be bothered with any stress from your relationship, and you feel real sad and you're feeling depressed, go to Google and type in, who do I call when I'm sad? I did, because I didn't want to bother my mom. My mom's not feeling so good, and she's trying to recover. I didn't want to bother my mom. I'm gonna tell you what, that stuff worked. It was free. This super, super nice lady was on the phone with me, talking with me, and just being nice, listening, and making these small little mm-hms and cues. And she's super nice voice and all that, and recommended me a place that I can get some help and stuff like that for depression, sadness, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she spent like 30 minutes on the phone with me because I felt good. And plus, I was underneath the effects of codeine, and I didn't know if that was. I felt like that was making me 2 times. Maybe I feel it 2 times as much than what I should be feeling.
Like what they call depressant or something.
Or something.
Sometimes some medications, and I want you guys to pay attention to stuff. Sometimes, and this happened to Anwan too, with medications. Sometimes, not just now, but in the past. Sometimes when you're taking medicine, you don't know the effects of the stuff, and you just kind of think that it's you, but it's a lot of times it's not you. Sometimes it's the medication, and it was described to me by his mom, in fact, that medicine can make you do things or feel certain ways and stuff, and if it's not, it just may just be the medicine itself that's causing you to do this stuff, and it's not you, but it's more so the medicine. And I think if you feel a certain way, like you start feeling bad or something, it's a good time to go talk to somebody. Reach out and talk to somebody. Don't think that people are going to know that you talk to somebody. I think it's more important to get somebody to listen to you, because one thing I'm starting to understand with my dad being sick with kidney failure is, sometimes it's a lot on you if you're trying to help a parent or somebody that's sick. It's a lot. It's emotional for me, and I'm sure it's emotional for a lot of people out there, that taking care of somebody who they're independent at first and then they're sick, it's not easy. So I'm telling people, for you guys who are taking care of people, go talk to somebody. Don't go to church, feel like you're going to get an answer at church. Go into an actual counselor that you can talk to, somebody that can understand you, because a lot of times you may try to go and talk to somebody that they could be a sibling, cousin, uncle, whatever, but they may not understand how you're feeling. And you have to make sure you're okay so that you can move forward, because you don't want to be stuck in a fog. That's not what you want to do. You're sad, depressed. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're feeling better and you are better, and that's the important thing you need to do. Whether you're taking care of somebody, maybe you're feeling depressed, sad, you're living out of town from where you live at, things aren't going well, talk to somebody, because that can help you. Expecting prayer to do something. I see this all the time when I'm on Facebook. I see people and they're saying, oh, God, do this, or in a post or something, and nobody comments anything. And I'm like, well, this person is looking for guidance on what to do, but they're expecting a divine being to do something. And the divine being can't do anything, because a lot of people don't know that particular divine thing is not real. And you'll notice, because other people are feeling certain ways and stuff. And I know people feel desperate with things, and they feel like, maybe I'll just give this Christianity one try to do this. Of course, it can make it worse. I know personally from my experience that it can make it worse. But I'm just saying, go to a real live person that you can see, that can vibe with you, and they can help you. You know, you can go to counselors that are not, you know, that are atheists. They're not Christian. They're not going to throw a Bible verse in front of you. You know, talk to somebody that can help you. You know, there's your real life things so they can help you move forward. I think that's the important thing, because when you're in that low state, you're just, you know, all you can think about is the bad thoughts. You're not thinking about the good things. And you need somebody to help you straighten you out on that. And that's why I'm really firm in counseling, because I'm in counseling to kind of help me and keep me going instead of me being depressed. Because it's easy to get overwhelmed with everything, with my dad and everything. It's easy to do that, you know, and it's tough. But I'm saying just to help people. You know, if you think you have to work past something before you get married, yeah, you should probably do that. You know, or both of you guys can't understand each other. I think you should do that too, so you can at least have somebody who can understand you guys and kind of put you on the right path. You know, you don't have to concern family if somebody's sick. You know, you don't have to do that. You can always, you know, talk to somebody, and you don't have to give, you don't have to tell your family, because, you know, you never know how it's going to affect your family or their family, whatever. So I think the light is getting kind of dim in here, but I know we said a lot of stuff, but maybe something in here is going to help somebody that's watching, so that maybe it causes you to think or do something maybe different, so that you're not just walking down the aisle down to the road of uncertainty. I don't know why I said that. That's kind of interesting, but yeah. So that's all I really have to say.
Okay, last thing. When you type it in, you can say depression hotline, something like that. Might say suicide hotline, but you want to, it's free. I don't know about free on minutes, or like, I just know that.
Oh, on the phone?
Yeah, I just know that you don't, on the phone you pay monthly, you know. It's free to call, okay? It's a hotline, 24/7-hour hotline. I know I called at 1 a.m. and they rerouted me to people in my city, okay? For me, it's the city of St. Louis. So it's for me, they rerouted me here, okay, to people here. And that phone call wasn't paid by the minute, okay? So just want to let you guys know that. That's all I had to say about it.
That's it for me too.
All right. Thank y'all for watching.